You have to realize that black folk went through more than the Jews during the Holocaust. And I'm not belittling the Holocaust, but the Holocaust had two components that we didn't have. One, they had their religion, and they had their family. Their families were not pulled apart.
Yeah.
You know, their religion, they could look on both sides of the Holocaust and still know what a Jew was. They also had external support because after the war, the United States, France, and England just took the Jews in. We didn't have that. They tore our families apart for centuries. At the end of the Civil War, we didn't know where we came from, and some of us still don't know you know. We didn't have, we didn't know after the war where our family members were.
Mm-hmm.
So we didn't have that internal or external support that other groups have had. When you look at slavery, the history of slavery in history, you don't find that the separation of family unmatched with what happened here in the United States. So it becomes the worst human rights violation in the history of the world, because the strongest component that we have is the family.
Yeah. That's
the establishment that God made at creation, and America and racism and Satan has effectively tried to affect that.
Yeah.
And so that's why I call it the worst human rights event in the history of the world.
Yeah, that's what it is in the book. You really took my next point right out of my mouth, where you said, you know, in the book, how you described that, yes, slavery has happened in world history before, but never to the scale of how it was in America, where they divided the family concept.
Exactly.
And that kind of, you know, that affects generations to come, because you even said in the book, a child without a family is like a ship in the sea without a rudder. Yeah.
It's even when you look at, if you look at a group that was enslaved the same number of years that we were, it's the Jews in Egypt. But when they came out of Egypt, they lined up by family and tribe, which meant the internal structure was still there. We didn't have that. We didn't have that.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that's what is so interesting to me, is how you unpack that dynamic as well. Because you said, like, within slavery, they attacked the dignity of the father, the mother, and the child. And you unpacked how it affected everyone separately. And I think one of the most vivid pictures that you paint in this book of, like, the atrocities that were faced, especially by the black women, were that I never even thought of, was how they would take a pregnant slave woman, cut her stomach open, and just let the baby come out. And that showed that they had power over life and death of the black people.
Yeah. And that's one of the things. I don't know what I know I've read several things, but one of the things I think it's important for black folk particularly to know, and also everybody, to know that the black family prior to the European invasion was very intact. Family was the most important unit in that society.
Yeah.
And the roles of the father, the mother, they were very distinct.
Yeah.
And there was a very healthy role for the father. He was an educator, he was a nurturer, he was a protector. And so we didn't start like we are now, where you got 70% of maybe our families are headed by single parents. We didn't start out that way. We started out as an intact family unit. Slavery in America has deliberately and systematically put us into this position. And I think and so if you don't know that you came from a healthy setting, then you may not know that you can get there. But we can get there, because what we are now is not what we were or what we can be. They stole it, but we can return.